David, it's great to have you back on the road to autonomy. You came on last time, talked all about the wonderful technology that you're building at Plus AI, and then lo and behold, a few weeks after you came on, I see a press release that Plus AI is going to go public. So you've been a very busy gentleman, sir. It's just a matter of a few weeks until you go public. How are you feeling? You went from building technology to scaling a business to taking it public. So how are you feeling?
Thank you, Grayson. Thank you for having me on. It is indeed an extremely exciting time for us. We've been building this business for years, and finally we are on the cusp of going public. We've announced the deal late last year. We've declared our S4 effective earlier this month, and then looks like we're going to be closing the deal, the transaction, and going public in early part of February.
When you go public, the transaction closes and you're officially traded on the exchange. How do you think that your management style is going to change in terms of how you run the company? Will it just be the same what you've run it, or are you going to implement some changes to how you manage?
We're going to keep our management style and operating style the same, except that we're probably going to accelerate on how we operate the business. We're on the cusp of commercializing the technology and the product we built over the years. The next few quarters are going to be crucial for us to really put the technology and our product in use at scale.
And you've been testing it with commercial fleet trials on I-35. How are those trials been going?
It's been going really well. So we started those commercial trials along with some of large fleets of our partner in international. So there's been tremendous demand coming from the fleets. Every one of these large fleets want to participate in this commercial trial. We've been fairly selective. We want to start it slow, right? So we select a few very high profile, very important fleets to start out the commercial trial. And we've been hauling commercial freights, and we've been gathering metrics and data on some of these operations. And then we're refining our integration operations over time. So we're going to be expanding those trials over time. And then for the remainder of the year, we're going to continue to expand our operating domain, add more runs, collecting more data, do more validations, and leading up to the commercial launch sometime next year.
So you're reiterating commercial launch is on track for 2027?
Yes. So there are a couple of key high-level metrics we're watching. One is something called safety case readiness metric, and the other is remote assistant free trip, RAFT metric. We've been disclosing those two metrics over the past few quarters. So over the last 12 months, we've improved our SCR metric, safety case readiness metric, from 75% to 90%. We are on target to achieve 100% safety case readiness by the end of the year. That's the point where we can actually pull the driver, the safety driver or the monitor out of the cabin and then do driverless runs before the end of the year. The other metric is the RAFT metric that measures, within the runs, the commercial routes that we enable, how many times or what's the percentage of times that we don't need to have any remote assistant monitor get involved for those out of ODD situation. For instance, if you have a road construction, a road closure, sometimes you call remote assistant for decision making. So this is a metric where we measure the operational efficiency of our routes. We've improved that metric by 10%, getting up to about 80% by the end of last year. We want this number to be above 90% before we can really scale this thing big time operationally.
To achieve the goals that you clearly articulately laid out, are you putting the decision making of the system on the truck to make those decisions? And if so, is that when you'll hit that 100 mark?
Yeah, so safety case readiness really measures can we operate make sure the truck addresses all the safety cases that's out there from an engineering point of view, right? So we laid out the safety case in multiple levels. The top 3 levels are published on our website. We want so there are like thousands of different safety cases we need to address before we can launch the truck without a safety driver in the cabin. So we've tackled 90% of those, and then the remaining 10% will be addressed the rest of the year.
That's fantastic. You said a little bit ago that there's I'll use the term overwhelming demand or a lot of demand for your fleet trials is individuals watching your business. Well, is the next step after fleet trials, well, then will you do driverless trials before you commercialize? Is that a metric that we should look for?
So there's no such thing as driverless trials. We take a very, very safety-centric view on, when can we take out the safety driver or the safety monitor, right? So the trials, what that means is we keep a safety monitor in the truck. We will only take out the safety monitor when our safety case complete, when we can guarantee the safetyness of this driverless truck. So we are not going to do any trials. We're only going to be launching the service at scale when we're fully confident the truck achieve the safety level that's much superior to a human driver truck.
When the data reaches that level, is it a board level decision? Is it you with your management team? Is it you with safety consultants? How do you make that decision when the data says, okay, we're at 100%? How do you ultimately make that final decision?
Yeah, that would be all of that, right? So it'll be on the engineering level, like people, we're a very data-driven company. We look at these metrics. It's going to be a management approved decision. And certainly, this would go through our board where everybody would look at the number and be fully confident we're at the point where we can launch the product safely. Because this is a safety critical industry. And, a lot of our customers are counting on us, providing the technology that will improve the safetyness of the transportation network.
And it's been proven. I mean, there's been papers from Zurich Re, various other insurance outlets. There's been quasi-government papers that have been put out improving the safety metrics there. When you remove the safety attendant, will it be a lane by lane safety case where each lane will have a different safety bench to make, or how should we think about that from an expansion standpoint as you grow the business?
Yeah, that's exactly how we think about it. It's lane by lane, right? So the model we operate under is, we enable one lane at a time. So it's a limited ODD, right? So for every single lane, we can prove out the safety case. And then once we do that, then we expand our lane to the next one, adjacent ones. So we're starting out the initial lanes in the Texas Triangle, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. And then we're going to expand the lanes from that Texas Triangle to the Sunbelt states, right? So that's the current plan on how we're going to operate and expand our network.
And part of the expansion I want to highlight for the audience, you have a very deep relationship, international, which is now going by the name of Traton. Same company, in my opinion, but I know it's a little political there, but you have a very deep relationship with Traton, and they're in partnership with you are creating a factory-built autonomous truck. You have the demand from the fleets. Is there going to be enough capacity from a factory standpoint to build these trucks to meet the demand on the day one?
Yeah, that's a very, very important point, right? We've been doing pilots and trials with many major fleets through retrofit programs, right? But that's not a way to really scale the business. The only way to scale this business is through factory-built trucks. It is a safety critical industry. 4 major truck manufacturers provide all of the millions of trucks on this market, right? So including International, which is a sub-brand of Traton. They also run brands Scania and MAN. Those are some major brands globally. And then in the US, there are 3 other brands, OEMs that produce the trucks, right? So all fleets buy trucks at volume in production from these 4 manufacturers. Because of the safety requirement, because the services and warranty that's required to run their business. So these are decades long or sometimes 100-year-old partnerships between the fleets and OEMs. So fleets are okay doing trials with tech startups like us, but they only want to buy volume from truck manufacturers. This is why years ago we constructed this partnership with Traton, with International, where we are providing our software virtual driver to be integrated at factory level with their trucks. They're focusing on providing the redundant chassis, the drivetrains, and then the safety framework on the hardware side, and building these trucks, for million-mile intended, life cycle, and then integrate that with at a component level with our software, with our AI-driven, native virtual driver software. So it is an integrated product that provides the safety and the warranty and the maintenance level that's required by the fleets. So, when I say we're going to go, commercialization in 2027, it means that the integrated driverless truck will be commercially available at that time.
When the international trucks, I'll just use the term, powered by the PlusAI driver are on the road, since they are built by Traton on the international line, is it fair to assume that these trucks will be serviced at the traditional international service stations?
Yes, that's the intention, right? So from a fleet customer point of view, they can continue to look at international as their supplier of the transportation tools. It's just that in addition to the hardware truck, international will also be providing them a virtual driver, right? So it's added level of service to the fleets. That's what fleets desires. That's what international is going to be providing. That's what we are helping international. We're enabling them to produce this product.
We get a lot of feedback here around redundant chassis. What is it? What does it mean? You're working hand in hand with your partner. Could you explain to the audience of what a redundant chassis is and why it's so critically important to what you're building?
Sure. So think of a autonomous truck today. You have a safety monitor in the cabin, right? So suppose the system go out of service, the primary virtual driver system go out of service. Maybe it's a hardware fault. Let's say your compute caught on fire, right? You do have the human safety driver in the cabin to take care of that. The safety driver can slam on the brake or steer the truck to the side of the road. Now, if you take out that safety driver, you need a virtual driver, a virtual safety driver, to monitor the primary virtual driver to make sure it's in operation. And if it's not, the backup virtual driver, the monitor virtual driver, need to be able to actuate, to steer the truck or to brake the truck, right? To step on the brake. So you need a redundant set of actuation to drive the truck. That's what we mean by redundancy, right? You need redundancy, redundant steering, redundant braking, and redundant actuation for the truck.
In broad math terms, you have your public with your 0 to 100 for your safety. What percent, broad terms, would you say the redundant platform plays in that getting to 100%?
Well, there's a lot of, that's an enabling factor, right? So, that's about on the hardware side, you need to make sure that we provide the capability of providing this level of redundancy. A big portion of our safety cases revolve around that, right? So if you encounter some cases, if you detect a hardware fault, right? If the bird poops on your camera or LiDAR, what do you do about it, right? So you need the redundant set of sensors and actuators to take care of these situations. So let's assume that you have that. So without that, you can't have a driverless truck that with no human monitoring in it and claim that to be entirely safe, right? So it's a enabling factor for you to be safety case complete.
What you've described, and this is public again, your partner Traton is very bullish on it, and collectively, you've set some pretty ambitious revenue goals of 100 million, 200, and 400 million. I'll use a kid's term. Oh, that's a lot of buckaronis, sir. How are you planning to reach these milestones that you've publicly put out to the market?
So first of all, let me clarify. Those are revenue milestones for Traton to obtain certain warrants in the company. So they're making a major investment or alignment of our roadmap as we go public. So I can't disclose their internal plan, but the idea there is that everyone in the industry realizes how important the autonomous driving technology is to transform the industry. if you think about it, 400 million is a big number. However, it's tiny compared to how big the industry is. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars of transportation costs in this country every year, right? So $400 million roughly equates to, on PlusAI's part, about 10,000 trucks operating for a year. That's the amount of revenue we'll be able to generate. So it is a big number, but it's a number that we feel comfortable that, together we'll be able to achieve in the coming years.
And when you initially launch in 2027, will it be a dozen trucks? You can try 50 trucks, 100. What is the scale path look like to hit these milestone numbers?
Yeah, so we're gonna do this commercial launch methodically. We're gonna start out with a limited size of operations, right? On the order of dozens or maybe a small number of a few hundreds, right? On some major routes, we're gonna run those operations for some time, some period, to gather data, gather metrics, and make sure that we operate the network efficiently and safely, and then we're going to scale from there. But just to put things into perspective, 10,000 trucks sounds a lot, but there are 2 million trucks running in this country, right? So it's a very, very small portion of the entire industry, and then we're just automating the industry, one step at a time, right? There's 80,000 driver shortage every year, so we're just looking at how do we meet some of this demand on the edges initially, and then gradually over the years transform the industry.
And through your partnership, you as in PlusAI, are not going to own the asset. Is Traton going to own the asset, or is the fleet going to buy the asset from Traton and hold it on their balance sheet? How is that going to work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our business model is asset light. We're a software producer, right? So we run a SaaS business. We provide our technology to the OEMs. They integrate that onto their truck. They build a truck, and then they sell the truck and service truck to the fleets. So that part of the business we try not to change, right? So there is the existing infrastructure and value chain to provide that services, right? So there are truck financing companies and truck insurance company, maintenance companies, and and dealership network. All of that we're trying to evolve it or help the OEMs and fleet evolve it. We're not trying to get into disrupting it, right? We're trying to help everybody make more money by enabling the entire industry. But from our point of view, we are an enabler. We provide the technology, the AI software to automate the industry so that we can operate these trucks more safely, and we can operate these trucks more economically.
Now, will you take that same model where you've have recent announcements over the last several weeks that you're with Iveco in Spain and with T2 in Japan? Will you take those same models, or will you look at models that historically have worked in each country? Because you and I both know there's a lot of different customs in various countries around the world in terms of how they live and how they do business.
Yeah, so recently, we are looking at partnering with folks globally, right? So for instance, Mitsui is a large Japanese trading house, one of the top 4 large trading houses in Japan. But they're also, for instance, they're the largest shareholder, Penske, right? They own many large logistic assets throughout the world globally. They're very interested in taking our technology and to distribute it globally, to enable the various industry in different geographic areas. So for instance, Mitsui owns or is a prime majority shareholder of a company called T2, which is they have the ambition or mission of providing a autonomous freight network in Japan. So we are collaborating and partner with them to provide our technology to enable them to run that autonomous freight network more efficiently and to get that into operation more quickly. We're partnered with Iveco, where we're providing our technology to help Iveco automating their trucks, right? So for their future product line on the automation side, we are their autonomy provider. And now they're working with a large Spanish freight operator called SESE. So we're going to be starting a 3-year pilot program in Spain, looking at how do we run L4 trucks in Spain.
Fascinating. I was there this summer, so I have to ask you this is a hyper personal question. When you go into the Basque region, where France and Spain meet on the border in the southwest, I can't even tell you how many Iveco trucks I counted on these roads. Like, oh, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. If we were playing punch bug, I'd have a very sore arm. Since you're there, are there plans then to go into France or to go into other parts of Europe? Since if you want to call it, you have a beachhead in Spain with a partner that is operating in other member states of the EU.
Yeah, I mean the idea there is our technology can be utilized globally. Part of our technology lineage came from an AI world where we're very data centric, right? So we have one of the broadest data set, if not the most broad data set in the autonomous trucking space. We have data, in all of the continental United States, throughout the 48 states. We've driven on every single one of the highways in those states. We have data, we're doing pilot and development work because of our OEM partnership in Europe with Scania, with MAN, with Iveco. We have operations in Sweden, in Germany, in Italy, in Spain. We've also run, with our fleet customers, run trials and pilots in Japan and Australia. So we have data globally, right? Given that we have experience of expanding our technology to anywhere, to all these places, with a lot of experience applying our technology, and our technology is actually built to satisfy the demand globally. So this is why our partners look at our technology and look at this as a great opportunity to take this proven technology, this AI-driven technology to many of these places globally with us.
If you look at the differences, driving in California, perhaps on the 101, or driving in the southern part of the United States on the 10 versus driving in Spain versus driving in the left-hand side of the road in Japan, those are, David, 4 very completely different driving environments with, frankly, different skills that you have to be able to adapt to. When you export the PlusAI driver to a new environment or to a new country, how does the AI driver adapt to the different driving environments?
Yeah, think of this way. Our AI driver is already trained in all these environments because we have data for all these environments. Our AI driver is one single AI driver that can drive in Japan on the left-hand side and Australia, and in Europe, in snowy conditions in Sweden, and in Texas. It's one single software that's learned on all of the data we have ever collected. So, with more data, our driver becomes more intelligent. So we're not, so in a way, we have the broadest and smartest AI driver out there in the industry.
Do you have to send a test fleet of 1 truck, 2 trucks, 3 trucks to try it, to, if you want to say, ground truth validate prior, or can the AI just go right out of the box?
Yeah, so in all these places, we have been working with either our customers or partners, or occasionally we send our own fleets out there, but mostly it's with our partners or our customer fleets. Right? So for instance, in the US, we've been running for years with one of the largest logistic and e-commerce company, hundreds of trucks automated with our technology being out there operating, and we've been collecting millions of miles of data with this partner, right? So that's one big data source. We've been doing trials and tests and development with Scania in Sweden. So we have a lot of snow data. Like we have probably the most amount of snow data drive on large trucks in the industry, right? So our driver, like if you happen to have snowing condition in Texas, can we handle it? Absolutely. We've seen a lot of snowy condition previously. So our AI driver saw it, know how to react to it, can recognize it, and can operate safely already. So that's why, if you have snowing condition in Texas, it's not the first time our AI driver has seen it. That's why it can handle it. That's why it has more intelligence than the one that's not trained with that type of data.
Do you feel, and this, Elon Musk has been out there talking about the miles, the data that Tesla has gathered through FSD and the different things that they've seen. So do you feel that one of your advantages in autonomous trucking for Plus as a company is, if you want to call it, the vast, diverse data set that you currently have?
That is a core competitive advantage we have, right? We've also built up our technology to be able to absorb, to learn from all that data. And also, in addition to real-world driving data, we have simulation technology to multiply that data, right? So we can easily change, for instance, we can take Australia driving data and layer that on top of the snowy condition that we've seen, right? So you can have, it's snowing in the middle of the summer or winter here, right? Middle of summer over there, and put snow on the roads and see how it reacts. So having this diverse data set and that coupled with our ability to multiply the data through simulation, it really provides our AI driver, really high level of intelligence and performance.
How much simulation goes into building the driver? Because I like the snow analogy is really good, but how much simulation or what type of, for the OS, what type of scenarios do you run through the simulation to prepare the driver for something that you and I might not see as a human, but we can think of it, so let's simulate it.
Yeah. So we have a vast simulation infrastructure. We also work with industry leader in this regard, right? For instance, we've been partnered with NVIDIA for many years. We're one of the early users of the Cosmos environment, right? So Jensen actually in the last years, he gave the keynote speech. He actually highlight part of that collaboration. So our approach is use what's best out there. We're trying to not to recreate everything, recreate the wheel in-house, right? We're trying to take advantage of all these advancement in technology with generative AI, with all the compute power we can get there, with all the advancement in foundation model, which on its own is basically that consumes all of the data on the internet, right? So we're standing on the shoulder of the giants, right? But we have this proprietary data, truck data, globally. That's something that no one else has. So we can fine tune some of the foundation model out there and make this to be the best virtual driver, physical AI driver for our industry.
You bring up an interesting point now. Vinod Khosla gave a speech recently, and he said the alpha, if you use the Wall Street term now, is proprietary data that other folks don't have. It's like, yeah, the internet's been scraped. It's been done. Sorry. You need that proprietary data. How do you ensure that, obviously, so you have the foundation layer, let's just call that the base, that's publicly available. But then you have your proprietary layer, which, if you want to use the Vinod Khosla, it's your alpha layer. How do you continue to feed the alpha layer to continue to have that proprietary data to keep your edge over your competitors as you grow the business?
Yeah, so this is it's a positive feedback loop, right? Because right now we have the broader data set, and we have one of the most mature tech stack out there. We're going commercial and launching these things, and we expect to hit a major scale in the coming quarters and years, right? And along with that, we're gonna keep expanding it's more about diversity of the data set than the just sheer quantity, right? So it's about have you seen all these cases, and can you have the base so that we can multiply these the data through simulation and synthesis.
It's become very clear that you Plus and your partner Traton are accelerating development. There was a release that came out recently that Traton's committing $25 million for R&D and non-dilutive capital. That's a positive reinforcement. Will that go into the AI R&D? Will that go into the hardware, or is it going to be a combination of everything to accelerate the PlusAI driver?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a major vote of confidence and in the partnership. Let me just clarify though. So first of all, each party is investing hundreds of millions of dollars into our part of development, right? So for this partnership, Traton's putting on hundreds of engineers in addition to all the other resources they're putting into this program, developing their side of the technology, right? The redundant chassis, the validations, work that's required, the integration of the virtual driver with their truck, So there's a lot of work going on in terms of producing a integrated driverless truck. So they've already putting hundreds of people on that. On our end, we're responsible for developing the AI driver. We are putting in the capital to do that. And then the business model is we're gonna, kind of profit share on top of that, right? So for all the economic value we generate, Traton's gonna keep a big portion of it. We're gonna take a portion of it as software licensing fee. That's the business model, the business arrangement. Now, on top of that, while we're going public, Traton's committing another $25 million to us. So essentially, they're paying us $25 million to accelerate the development and the integration of our virtual driver onto their platform. And that fund will primarily be dedicated to programs to accelerating our current roadmap, right? We have a roadmap in place to launch the integrated truck, in the coming quarters. So this fund will be used to ensure that we continue to progress along the roadmap and accelerate it.
Which to me, in my terms, it says Traton's bullish, based on what you described and the data that was in the release. Why do you think Traton, in your humble opinion, is so bullish on the future of autonomous trucking?
I think it's becoming clear to everyone, not just Traton, but becoming more and more clear to everyone, in the industry and outside the industry, that driverless vehicles are happening. Or in some cases, it's already happened, right? For instance, for robotaxis, there are hundreds and thousands of them running around in major metros. So people no longer become kind of even excited about seeing a vehicle with no driver in it. It's no longer, science fiction. So having a driverless truck running down the highway, I think people see that happening like today, like right now, or in the very near future. And that is going to transform the transportation industry. And Traton being a major player in enabling the transportation industry, they're extremely, so first of all, it's extremely important for their core business. And secondly, they're extremely bullish on the development of the automated trucking business.
Yeah, so we also have a well-documented driver shortage, which you highlighted, and we also have, not political, but you have an immigration crackdown, which is leading to a larger driver shortage. So you have to fill it in there. To me, it's a good time to be in the autonomous trucking business. In a matter of weeks, sir, you're going to be a publicly traded CEO. And this is just for the record, you've been on twice when you've been a private company CEO, and we are going to have you back on again when you are a public CEO. Besides watching for your IPO, what do we need to watch for in the coming months as Plus takes the next step in the journey of this company?
So I think in the coming month or quarters, we'll be continuing to release data about our operations, the metrics. We're going to expand our commercial trials, and we'll be going to be commercially ready to release our virtual driver, our AI driver, by the end of the year. And then we're looking forward to launch the integrated driverless truck sometimes in 2027.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to your launch. The industry needs more autonomous trucks, and it's a thriving and healthy industry. The future is bright. The future is autonomous. The future is PlusAI. David, sir, thank you so much for coming on the road to autonomy, and we cannot wait to have you back on again when you're the CEO of a publicly traded company.
I look forward to that. Thank you.